Why have we come to earth? Do you remember? Why have we taken birth? Do you remember?
Sui.
And this is my buddy, this is Rob Roy Boytoy. Oh. And this is a very special friend. This is Fatima.
Fatima,
No. Fatima.
but she's fat.
Well, she's a pig.
Yeah.
She's a very special pig. She's an endowment pig.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm turned on.
Let me turn the microphone on. Test. Test.
So Fatima is
Have a
an.
seat.
Oh, thank you, Reverend. Sorry to disturb the services.
Hold Cheryl for a little while later, okay? Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
So Fatima is an endowment pig.
Uh-huh.
And she came today to visit all her little cousins that are out there with Jillian. Hi, Jillian! Jillian, it's the Piggy Endowment Adoption Day.
Excuse me, does somebody have some Febreze for this woman, please? Straight out the farm.
Well, yes.
So what is Piggy Adoption Day?
Well, Piggy Adoption Day is, they're very special pigs, and you get to take one home, and you get to feed them with all kinds of your loose change that you find in your cup holder and your couch and your husband's pockets.
Now, this church is all about change, so that's a good thing. We should have a
Yeah,
lot of loose change.
right. And could you hold my hat there, please, Roy? So,
And I see she has quite a belly full. So what's all that about? Are you saving up for vacation?
oh, no, we just got back from vacation. We were in Hawaii,
Oh, really?
but we had to come home early because we were invited to a luau, and
Uh-huh.
she was the guest of honor.
Ah,
And
yes.
we decided that maybe a quick exit. Luckily, she was too little. They have big families over there. So anyway, so yes, all the sparklies in there, we're collecting, and in using circulation, once a year, she will give up all that loose change, and it'll be donated to the endowment fund and become part of the sacred principle. So there's a piggy reunion coming up November 15th, which happens to be Fatima's birthday. So you're all invited to Fatima's birthday party.
Wait.
Oh.
Just a minute. Sacred Principle Endowment Fund, Piggy Reunion?
Yeah.
What are you talking about here?
Well,
This is a church.
I know. Yeah, I know. So the endowment fund is a separate fund that we have. You should know about this, Reverend. It's a good thing.
Really?
It's a separate fund from the general fund.
I'm meditating all the time, so I never.
Oh,
hear
I'm
about
sorry.
this stuff.
Okay, well, let me
I don't-
inform you.
Yeah, I let my little people take care of that.
Okay. So she gives up her quarters and her nickels and dimes. She gets weighed.
Ah.
Yeah, there's a little contest, and she's a pretty big pig.
I heard there's a guy named Bourne.
Oh,
The Bourne Identity or something.
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
guy who wins
He-
it every year.
yeah.
Or some years in the past.
his piggy eats lots of quarters. Yeah. So the sacred principle, all the quarters go into the sacred principle, and it's the growth on that. It's kind of like you create this field on your farm that is never sold. You don't give up that farm. You don't give up that field. You don't give up that sacred principle. It's not used for anything else.
So this is not like the principal at the Catholic grade school that I went to. She was a sacred
No.
principal.
This
is different.
This
okay.
is a much nicer principle.
Okay.
Yes, this principle grows into eternity.
Okay.
And we harvest once a year.
Uh-huh.
And that harvest turns into the grant program for the endowment fund.
Ah.
And, well,
What's that guy doing next to you there?
Well, I don't know. I think he's
What are you
making,
doing?
Oh, I know all this stuff.
Yeah?
So I'm just contemplating my bucket list here.
Your bucket list.
Yeah.
Oh, what's on your bucket list?
Well, it's full of endowment folders.
Uh-huh.
There's things in here that are really interesting to me that
Uh-huh.
I've been a part of for the last 19 years. And, this microphone, for example,
Yeah?
the,
You've been part of that for 19 years?
no, that would be weird. No, what's happened is that this field that we have has been growing. We've been buying acres. Some people call them stocks and bonds and other things like that. And they've been growing, and we've been buying things like microphones and these new speakers that we have up here. And we multiple times we've helped the sound team.
Those blinds over there?
That's right. I forgot about those blinds. It gives Luke something to do during the service. And we have sent youth advisors to camp. And we bought the computers for the office and upgraded all the software. And by we, I mean all of you. We're a community with a vision, which is that we inspire and empower people consciously to live spiritual, fulfilling lives. And that's the biggest thing in my bucket. So how can I do that perpetually for the rest of my life now and when I'm not here anymore, which is a possibility. I'm getting to be old. So, the biggest problem is I don't see very well, and it could be a truck, So, we give money through the pledge program. And more importantly, we can also give money in the future. There are things that we can do with wills and trusts and what other things? We got,
if you have something left over in your retirement account.
oh yeah. And that piece of stock that I've never been able to sell, right?
That one that you inherited from Grandma
Yeah.
Julie,
Yeah, right.
that it's appreciated, and if he sells it, he's going to have a taxable gain that's just more than he wants to take.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows, because that's what she does for a living. And
Oh, I think Grandma,
in addition,
yes.
that was your main job is, I forgot about Fatima. I'm sorry, Fatima. So this is why we're here, is to celebrate the good news about the center. And
So
one
this
of the
endowment
things that we
fund
do.
is kind of like it's a big field that you already started with. Well, actually, it was planted originally in a very small field with, what did it start with?
Well, there were a small group of people that donated monies, just in the hundreds, thousands of dollars. And when we got to $50,000, we started buying things for the center.
This field
And,
has expanded.
and it's expanded, and there's a bulletin board in the social hall with the numbers on it.
Great.
And we invite you all to participate.
Watch that field grow.
That's right. And watch the center grow
Yeah.
and do
And
things
so
for
then out
ourselves.
of that, you spin off every year from your crops, you spin off and share some of your crop with the center so we can, buy things that we wouldn't normally be able to buy out of the general fund.
Well, and things that support the mission of the church, like one time we provided some money so the youth advisors could go to camp and deferred some of their travel expenses in. Also supporting like the building of the labyrinth out back in
I know you just recently supported improvements in the children's church.
Children's Church most recently, so that Cynthia could improve the nursery and make it safer and so forth. And Fatima's favorite was the fertilizer that went out in the garden.
The fertilizer in
Yeah,
the
the
garden,
fertilizer
yeah.
and the mulch, yeah, that was her
Fatima's.
favorite, yeah. Yeah,
Fatima's
she,
favorite, yeah.
no, Fatima's,
Fatima.
yeah, she enjoyed
Okay.
that.
And if you've ever wondered what that oak photograph is in the entryway, it's our symbol. That we started with an acorn and now we have this wonderful tree to share with everybody. And it's all about you. You create it and you support it and it gives back to you.
Great. So somebody handed me this before I came up, and I guess it's for a purpose. So
That's one of
can people
Fatima's
take these home?
cousins. Yeah, oh heavens, yes.
People have their own
Yeah, so Fatima,
or however, whatever they want to
yeah,
name
they
it.
can name them whatever they want, or, just
Mine-
keep the
mine's
number.
named Colin
Colin
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick. Oh, I get it. He's talking.
talking
He's
back
talking
to
about pig skins. Shame on you, Reverend. Shame on you. Anyway, there are a lot of little piggies at back there that want to be adopted, so please touch base with Jillian and she can get you all signed up.
So does anybody want a pig right now? We're going to do an altar call. Altar call. This pig needs a home.
Suey!
This pig needs a home. Somebody please adopt this pig.
All right.
That
Hey!
man back there will...
Roger's got a
And
pig.
you see that beautiful lady in the pink dress and the white top, and she will give you all the paperwork you need for a legal adoption.
Yes.
All righty.
Thank you, Reverend. I'm sorry,
Thank
sorry
you,
we
yes.
interrupted.
I'll take
Legal. Leave that there. Wonderful. We'll go to a commercial break with Reverend Sue.
Hello. I'm going to make an announcement about Shakti St. Michael, her Breathe Awake the Dream. It started on August 19th, but she's still receiving people to join her in that, and it is the most powerful practice. It's a breathing practice. It's on Wednesdays, and it's in the meditation pavilion. And so there's information in your program, and it's really important for you to connect with that. She's a powerful healer with her breathing practice work. She infuses her song and her voice and her chant with that. So that's something for you to, those of you that are free on Wednesdays, to really invest your health in an opportunity to do this breathing practice for your overall well-being. And also this week, the Sacred Drum Circle with Reverend Lynn E. Fritz. She's going to be doing the drum circle on the Labyrinth. So that's Tuesday, August 25th at 6:30 to 7:30. And this circle has grown. It's a very popular community event as well. So bring your drum, bring your hands. You can just clap and join the beat and join the spiritual community in that way. Inviting you to the bookstore. There is a 50% off on selected gift items, and I hadn't been in the bookstore for a while, and I just wanted to shop, but I realized it's not time yet. So before you leave here today, partake of the goods that are there. They've been bringing in a lot of new things there. It's a lot of fun. One of the things I saw were oils and fragrances. And the parking lot sale, the parking lot bazaar is what we're calling it, because it's filled with some of our greater goods that we're willing to pass on to the greater community, and then to shop ourselves and find new things for our homes. So that, the collectibles and the finds, it's called, this sale will begin on September 11th and 12th. If you could sign up, though, there's in the middle of the foyer a whole variety of ways that you can be part of this community event for our center. It's one of our biggest fundraisers, and the more the merrier. It's just a very joyful time to sort through things and to make it look like Macy's in here. It's just fun. It's a lot of fun. So I'll just leave the announcements right there, and back to you, sir. Not here, is she? That was the prana one.
Don't mess with the church lady. Don't mess with the church lady. I wanted to close that last session actually with a quote. This is from Julia Cameron, who many of you know for the Artist's Way and other such works. Life is a creative endeavor. It is active, not passive. We are the yeast that leavens our lives into rich, fully baked loaves. When we experience our lives as flat and lackluster, it is our consciousness that is at fault. We hold the inner key that turns our life from thankless to fruitful. So I was thinking of that in terms of the endowment fund, that's a wonderful, fruitful endeavor that we have in the community. Another wonderful, fruitful endeavor that we have in the community is our classes. How many of you have taken a class here? Great. I've asked a couple people, and if others would like to, and I'm going to invite Twyla, because she's sitting right here in my field of vision, up to share. Twyla, just share with us something that you have gotten out of a class that you can say truly affected your life and improved it. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to make you climb these stairs, because I know you said that's a challenge.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Well, this came kind of as a shock when he asked me to do this today, but I am glad to share. I started last September with the foundations class with Reverend David, and I then have taken classes from Mary continually each time. And the last one that I took was Shortcut to Miracles, which I started out saying, I don't believe in miracles. I believe in the law and it works, which I still kind of hang to that. But we did our treatments. There were 4 subjects. There was health, success, relationships, and prosperity. And so I did my treatments, of course, and as the time went on, one of my treatments was for health. I have struggled with high blood pressure for, I'm going to say, about 8 years or so. And one of the things that I treated for was to be off of all medication and have a normal blood pressure. And it happened. It happened. Mary asked me what was the key that I found. And the key to me was the first 2 principles. God is everywhere present. And second, I am part of that. I am an expression of God. And I went to the place with God has no blocks. What am I doing with blocks? And so therefore, I changed my thought. I changed, and as of yesterday, one of the blood pressures I took was 108/59. So I'd like to just share another quickie. We had relationships, and this has happened since our class. I have a grandson who is, he's making decisions to perhaps be something other than what he came in as. And it was very hard for me to accept this. And I happened to be in conversation with another of our members here this week, last week actually, and got to talking to her, and she had similar circumstance. And I said, would you do a treatment for me? And she did, and I've been journaling. I do my meditation in the morning, do journaling. And I really got into the thing of that he is here on his journey, and that love is the answer, and I love him for whatever it is. And he did call and say, Grandma, can I come over? And there was some circumstances that had kind of hindered that for both of us who had a block. And I said, certainly, and he came over and shared his 3.5-week-old little baby girl. He and his partner came, and it was just delightful, and so that to me was another miracle, a working of the law again. So these classes to me are wonderful. I have grown 1,000-fold since I started last September, and I'm going to continue on. I encourage anyone to take them, and mysticism is the next one, so be there.
Yes. I have a question for you.
Oh my God.
Is a person ever too old to take classes?
You're getting into a dangerous area.
It's just a general question.
Well, I'll be 84 next month, and I'm loving them.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Twyla. I've also asked, whichever mic I'm speaking to, Shirley, if she would talk, I'll save you the trouble of having to come up if you want to just share here. Or you can come up if you like, whatever you'd like.
I'll go up.
Okay, come on up. And Kelly Rizzi, would you join us, please?
I'm really not used to using this, but I hope I'm not shouting at you. I want to say this, that I have had many, many wonderful experiences taking classes from Sue. It's been so important to me. But this time, I took a class from Mary, and it was wonderful. And it was the same one that Twyla took. And actually, my husband made his transition just a couple of months before I took this class. And I had been married for 64 years. And I decided I was going to have to reinvent my life. But can you imagine what it's like to all of a sudden realize you can have anything you want? What miracle do you want? And I couldn't even decide. So I thought, I'd like to get a job and earn a lot of money. And Mary had us do some journaling right there in class, and I just took off. And when I read it back, that was not what Presence had in mind for me at all. No, not at all. So I began to have a very close relationship with Presence. And I think that's probably the most important thing I can say about taking classes. And I, too, had a little relationship problem. My children were not getting along, my grown-up children, mind you. And as a matter of fact, last night, they got together in my house and had a wonderful, wonderful visit. So believe me, it works. Yeah. And I'm so glad that I was able to do this.
Thank you, Shirley Wade. And then the last person is Kelly Rizzi.
Yes, Kelly Rizzi. And I would just like to say of Shirley, she is a beloved angel. She goes to our nursery every Sunday and holds those babies and loves on them. She even gets to know the children enough to know what calms them and what their interests are. She makes toys and brings them so that the children are happy and feel loved and included. And we're very blessed to have her. So then there's me. So I have been at the center, oh my goodness, lots of years. I want to say close to 15. And I've taken classes from all of the amazing teachers here. And one of the things about me to know is that I'm in education, so I work with children all over the county. And one of the things that I was vice principal at one point of Parsons Junior High, and when you're vice principal, you get all the behaviors that come in, particularly children who are being bullied. And the children that would come into me would walk in and they would have this presence about them. Their shoulders would be down and they didn't understand why they were being bullied. And I had the opportunity to remind them of their truth, and I would work with them, and there was a version of Beowulf in the library that I would read with them. But what I was able to share with them in terms of our inner light and our inner confidence was only possible because of the classes that I've taken here. You know, I'm married to the man of my dreams right now because of these classes here. I had a really horrible marriage before that, and I know that we all know this, but you draw to yourself that which you are, and you can only receive that which you believe you're worthy of receiving. And this teaching is what shifted that entire belief for me. So in one of the first classes I took here was with Andrea when she was still here. We read a book called Building Your Field of Dreams by Mary Mannon Morrissey. And one of the things that she teaches in that book, it's an amazing book, by the way, is to honor your discontent. So I started to really focus in on that. What would it mean to honor your discontent? What does that mean? And I started to notice, just listen inside when God would talk to me about an area of my life where I was discontented. And I went from being a teacher to a literacy coach to a school site principal, and then I was asked to join the county, to be a director, and all of these things have happened in a total place of humility for me and of gratitude. But I'm sharing this with you because if I hadn't changed the inner confidence, the inner knowing, the inner being of Kelly, none of that would have been available. You know, it's like I had a friend that would come to me all the time and say, Kelly, nothing's going right, nothing's going right. And finally I said, you know, I think I got it. I think I know what's going on for you. Every morning you go to God and you say, 1 teaspoon of blessing, please. And God says yes. Every day God says yes. I said, try going with like empty swimming pools and say, God, I'm coming for your blessing. God says yes. God says yes to whatever it is we know we're worthy of. And of course, God wants us to have the very best and wants to give us swimming pools full of blessings. So I started out in this center as a very small, contorted young lady. And now I feel like this expansive, I don't know. I don't think there are words. And it happens. I'm not saying you're going to just jump in the pool and it's going to happen overnight. It can. There are miracles like Twyla's, and certainly I've had miracles. But it is such a beautiful process to be a part of this community, to have these people as mentors, and to have them as teachers, and to see yourself change and shift and step into the light and see yourself the way God sees you. It's an amazing, powerful, transformational process. I'm deeply grateful.
Thank you. The reason I wanted to talk about classes is because they're starting up again in about 3 weeks in the fall, and so there's sign-up sheets out there, and if you're called to take a class, if you want to go deeper with this teaching, because you know on normal Sundays I get up here and I give an inspirational talk and a little bit of you know recommendations for how to apply that, but it's in the classes that we consistently take and practice week after week after week this process. And one of the things that I heard Twyla say and a couple of the others is, and I also could ask somebody else to pray for me. And so you form friendships, you form prayer partners, you form people who when you are having a dark night of the soul, when you do forget who you are, you can sit there and say, you know, I can't see it right now, would you pray for me? So I really, 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 really encourage you to take classes, because that's where the real growth and the real rubber meets the road. So I just invite you to take a look at some of the classes that are available. I know Reverend Mary has, what are you teaching? Practical Mysticism. That's the one that Twyla was talking about. I'm teaching Foundations if you're just kind of starting out and new and you want to understand the principles of this. And the third class is, we have a third class. Essential Ernest Holmes, and that's Diana Johnson, yes. So if you want to get deeper into the teachings of Ernest Holmes. And what I love about the Essential Ernest Holmes, if you've ever read the textbook, the Science Mind textbook, you've known it's a little challenging to read. Anybody besides me ever experienced that? Okay. The Essential Ernest Holmes actually presents an easier side of Holmes to get to know. Some of his other writings, some of his radio interviews, radio shows they did, and an expansion and over time, a longer period of time. So it's a great class. So just wanted to talk about classes, and now we'll go to another commercial break with our famous church lady.
He just took my show because my announcements are all about classes. So it's sort of like that really late night show where they just keep showing the same commercial over and over again. But let me reiterate, the Practical Mysticism class with the famous Reverend Mary Mitchell, the extraordinary Reverend Mary Mitchell. She is so famous that she's now on the councils to help figure out the curriculum in our whole organization. She's got, yeah. She plays it humble, but she's got the flow sheets, and she's got them in line with how to make order out of something that I think has been a little bit chaotic for a few years. So thank you, Reverend Mary, for serving on the bigger organization that way for us. And in that, she is championing that whole idea. So many of you have taken classes. Oh, I've already had that one, did that one, been there, done that. But you know what? Who you were when you've been there, done that was who you were then. The miracles, as you so beautifully expressed it, have transformed you. You take them again, and you find yourself, oh my gosh, I took this, but I don't remember any of this. And you see it from the whole new you. So there's ways to retake classes as well. Foundations is, for many of you that have been in the teachings for a very, very long time, think, I already know. Not with the way Foundations opens it up to you. It's a beautiful way to revisit a teaching that you've held very comfortably close to your heart for a long time. You wake up and you renew who you are. And a lot of these are right now are on the Pathway for Practitioner class, which I am so fortunate to get to teach the Prac 1 class this year. I have some students in that, and I'm just so thrilled to be doing that. However, we're also offering some classes that just to help you expand in your creativity as well, and one of those is through film. And we have, and she's not here right now, but Jamie Wheel, she'll be teaching starting in September 17th. It's an afternoon class, a morning, 10 o'clock to 12, I think is what it is. And it's in your program, but it's spirituality through film. Many great speakers use the analogy and the spiritual truth that are in film and help to reach our hearts in that way. And she's very enthusiastic in her offering of this course to you. And so it's something new that we're doing. So we look forward to having that as an opportunity for you as well. And there'll be more of those through the year. Little short classes, right, Reverend David? And things that you can just feel like, I have a passion for that. And when you feel the call, when you feel the stirring inside of you, say yes to that and sign up on the sheets that we have out there. And let the office know, I wish we had a course on blah-de-blah as well. And we'll find a way to bring that to you. We're passionate about our teachings. And the last announcement, I would like Roy to come up, and this is all about the men's movement in our center. Roy? Thank you, Reverend David. I'm done now.
So I have a different hat on. I don't have a hat on. We have an extraordinary men's circle here, and all men are invited. We meet on the second and fourth Mondays of the month. So that means there's a meeting this coming Monday. There's more information in the program, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to call me or send me an email. In this circle, though, it's a little different. It's not a class. We are teaching each other in a safe container to speak our truth without being judged by anybody. It's a supportive group. Men have come to this group and talked about things they've never talked about. And men have come and bragged about what's going on in their life. And it goes the whole spectrum. Harry Bliley came back when he had some business in town and stayed an extra day just to come back to Circle because he can't find it where he is. So it's an invitation to everyone, to all men to come. And as part of that, the men's circle and the center here are supporting Brothers Who Love and Brothers Who Hate, a journey to the heart of manhood. And this is presented by David Zaslow. He's a rabbi in a new movement of Judaism that is more accepting of all spirituality. He's very interested in the way our center approaches spirituality too. He has been a teacher for decades. He's very funny, he's very talented. I went to a book presentation. He's an author. I had a great time. Kurt Mitchell, who goes here, has been to many retreats with him and recommends them highly. And I'm really looking forward to it. And this is open to all men. It's $110 if you pay for by September 13th, and $135 after that. And it's the weekend of October 2nd and 3rd. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope men will sign up. The sooner we have signups, the more we'll know what we can do as far as the presentation, because it makes money from your donations to this, where our men's circle is free. This allows us to gives scholarships to men who can't afford to come to these retreats. It allows us to bring in men like David. It allows us to pay the center for the use of the space. So you get and you give. It's a wonderful thing. Any questions? I'll be around after the service. Thanks.
I want to invite up Sherry Miller to sit with Reverend Sue, and the only reason I'm doing this is because they said that people confuse the two of them, and so I wanted them to both be seen together so you could identify, who's who. One wears white, one wears black. There we go. The reason I invited them up, this is our last interview, is because I wanted to talk about the concept of Seva, which we practice here at the center. And so I remember when I first came here and heard that term Seva, and fortunately I knew what it was ahead of time, but it's been, I know, a deep, deep practice from, the birth of this center into it. And so I would love it if you two would just talk a little bit about Seva, what it means in general, and what it means to you personally, and what it means to this center. That's a big topic, I know.
It is a big topic, but it's close to my heart. And the concept, the word, is a Sanskrit word for those of you that are familiar with it, and it means sacred service to God. And Dr. Reverend James Golden brought it to our awareness when he was the pastor here many years ago. And he learned the truth of Seva when he was doing his own spiritual discipline and joining with some teachers that he was very deeply connected with. And he would bring back these stories of simply washing a potato in the kitchen, but just being so involved with God as you washed this potato that would eventually serve a multitude of people. And you recognize that whatever you do, your heart is invested in the offering of your whole self to whatever smallest duty there is before you. And so you're not doing it for any glory, for any attention, for anybody to pat you on the back and say, way to wash a potato. It's more of, my gosh, you've washed this potato with such love and such attention, and that feeds the soul of so many others. So that concept, we decided as a community to really be the foundational roots of our center, and that's why we invite you so many times to join a team, to know what that feels like, to offer your whole heart and soul in service to this center. And Swami Satchidananda used to describe it as, if you see something that needs to be done, a litter on the ground, don't walk past it, pause and pick it up. There's no other person but God calling you in that moment. If your attention falls on something, you are the one called in that moment, so it's a divine duty. And so the more we respond to that call, our hearts light up in such a genuine connection to the one. So when we ask, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, you do what's before you with God's grace leading the way. So there's many times when I move chairs, because I teach the yoga here, and I was moving the chairs back yesterday, and there's some times where you go, why do I see the dirt on the ground? I'm going to pretend I don't see the dirt on the ground. Oh, I see the dirt on the ground. And so I went to get the vacuum, and one thing kept leading to the next, but it's, when you start opening yourself up, you realize, of course you do all that's before you. And I know Sherry's an integral part of that, so I'll hand the mic to you, Sherry.
Especially the part about the dirt. You've probably heard I'm on the cleaning team, the head of the cleaning team. And one thing, I was listening to the people who were talking about the classes, and we learned ages ago when we put the walls up that it's a principle of the teaching to give back to the source of your strength. If you get strength from your children, give back to your children. If you get strength from your parents, give back to them. Well, this center is a source of strength for me, and I'm sure for all of you. And so it was just a non-decision, actually, to just give back to the source of my strength. And so I joined several of the teams. I'm Dutch, and it's in my DNA to be the cleaning person. And so and so that became my source of seva. And I think until you really experience giving back with no agenda whatsoever, you will see changes in your life. It's the miracles that Kelly was talking about. They take place in your life. And I can do a commercial, we need help cleaning. But it will change your life. And so it's been very satisfying.
Thank you. I know there's great history. I remember Brother Jerome, who was a Christian mystic, had many of his insights as he was washing dishes for his fellow monks. And in the Zen tradition, you're often given a koan to consider, and then you go out and you do the work around, cleaning the bathrooms, raking the garden, whatever it is. And so it's a wonderful time. I know Roy talks about that his meditation is to weed whack and to do the lawn. And so it's a wonderful time to, it's not just volunteering. I've been very involved with volunteer organizations and that, and there's a wonderful giving for volunteering, but it's taking it into and adding the spiritual component into that volunteering in a way to make it that it's a sacred act. So I hope that kind of summarizes.
One other thing. I remember one time the bathrooms were just in bad shape after, I think it was a parking lot sale. And so I knew before we had the service the next day, we had to come in and just clean the bathrooms. And I thought, grunt, grunt, grunt. And then I remembered Gandhi, he and his wife cleaned the latrines. And I thought, can I do any less? And I thought, quit complaining, get in there and do your job.
So there's a number of ways you can join a Seva team if you want to, or just do Seva. And I know Sherry would be happy to help you kind of find teams. She'll probably have a slight preference for one team, like the cleaning team. But there are all sorts of ways. Roy works with a landscape team if you're wanting to put your hands into nature, and there's a number of other ways to do that. So thank you very much for that. And so with that, yes, please. Thank you.
Serve